Okay, you guys, what is up? The King of Lightning is here today to do Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic, chapter 234 review. This chapter is heavy. It's real heavy because Shiba's dead. Arba's confirmed Ren Gyokuen. Ugo couldn't save Shiba in time, obviously. And Solomon, his body was near death. And it sucks because, obviously, this is not what Shiba wanted. And the entirety of this situation is not what Shiba wanted. Shiba, all she really wanted was just to spend time with Solomon and enjoy their life together and end the tyranny of Elder David. But even though they end the tyranny of Elder David, they pay a high price, and Solomon himself becomes God. In the process, his body becomes more or less a husk. And it's Shiba who has to take over as queen. And you see the toll it's taking on her body. Well, not really her body, but it's taking a toll on her in general. Because you see that her eyes were cloudy. And she was just going through the process of making sure that things went according to plan. How you had this ceremony that was going to take place because you have the other species, they're going to pledge their loyalty to Lord Solomon. And at the same time, Solomon's body was going to pass away, obviously. So that happens, and then you have Ugo create the metal vessels for those representatives of those species. And yet, here we have this completion of the task at hand. And Shiba is believing that everything is a-okay, but turn around and she sees many of her fellow magicians around her, covered in black rook. And the way the panel or that page was depicted, it was very nice because you have a stream of black rook going through multiple panels at once. It was very nice page right there overall. And then once she's with Solomon and Solomon's body's passing away, you see that obviously there are a lot of people there mourning Solomon's death. And it was a very small panel, but I think it's very important. It showcases that not all of the magicians were actually on the side of Arba. You see 3 magicians. 2 of them are just having like a regular pose and showing their respects. And one of them is full on crying, tears. And then there's another small panel underneath it where you see the eyes of these 2 magicians. Clearly, there's malice, obviously. So I think it's a good indication of the ratio of the number of magicians that actually sided with Arba, like pretty much 2 to 3. So not every magician, but a lot of them did. And then in comes the attack from Arba and the Black Rook and the Jinn and like these 6-eye flying monsters that breathe out some kind of miasma. And then we have Shiba by herself pretty much engage in combat against Arba. And beneath Shiba, because they're flying, beneath Shiba is like a swarm of black Jinn and these weird monsters. No help in sight. And Shiba, she starts off winning. Arba winds up besting her. And then Arba does something, it wasn't really depicted that well. And then the end result is Shiba on the ground, pretty much dying. And then you have Arba pretty much take advantage of that moment. Sway her comrades, grab Shiba's own staff. Has that messed up face that we've seen Ren Gyokuen have for so many, panels. And then she was on the ground laying there in her own pool of blood. Then Ugo hops in. And then it's like that final moment. And she reveals that, that you see her soul pretty much going with the Rook, with the Great White Flow back to Solomon. And then finally it's the child is still alive. The name is Aladdin. And then she passes away. So the thing here is that, again, I feel bad for Shiba because Shiba had to do all this pretty much by herself. Because Ugo, he wasn't wise enough to realize that Arba was, in fact, malicious. She was just evil. She had fallen from grace. He couldn't believe that a fellow Magi would betray them. Whereas you have someone like Shiba who could already see their Rook tainted black. She had an idea of what was going on, kind of. Not only that, but I don't think Ugo was that beneficial when it came to actually leading the country, to leading the world, actually. I mean, we have Queen Sheba, but Ugo should have been more in the forefront. In fact, you have Ugo, like there was a small scene in the chapter where you have Arba, she's trying to state the complaints of other magicians about how it's too soon for the other species to give their loyalty to King Solomon, and how you have Sheba saying, no, this is an order, it's going down. And then they start arguing, Ugo breaks it up, and then Ugo tends to Arba, because Arba pretends to cry. So, well, I mean, she is crying, but like, we all know it's some bullshit, obviously. So, it was sad in that part too, because Ugo could have been more helpful to Sheba, obviously. And then it's sad in the respects that Solomon himself, even though he is the would-be god of the world, he couldn't really intervene in these events, obviously. Not only that, but Sheba didn't want this. Sheba, all she really wanted was to spend her life with Solomon, have a family, and that was the whole plan after they had the whole thing, the whole, like, let's go, like, the whole point of beating Elder David was to get worldwide peace, to make a genuine step for Alma-Toron. And clearly things didn't go their way, because they had to make so many sacrifices in order to kill Elder David. So the point here is that I feel bad for Sheba. I really do. Really, really do. Really bad. So let me mention a few things here and there in the chapter that are very important. I'm done. First of all, very important. Note how, well, I don't know if it's very important, but it's, I think, noteworthy. Where, you know how they always have like that weird symbol on their forehead? It's like an oval with like two wings on the side. Well, when the combat starts with the Dark Djinn and the magicians that follow Arba, pretty much, Arba doesn't have that on her forehead anymore. She has 3 dots. And I notice how the 3 dots pretty much, I think, symbolize not just the... Well, take it like this. The giant black djinn have 3 eyes. The winged monsters that breathe the miasma, they have 3 eyes. They have 3 eyes on each set of like of the side of their face. In total, 6 eyes. So you have Arba with the same 3 dots on her forehead, and then when she's engaged in combat, Sheba's clearly better, but winds up being the case that Arba actually utilizes the power of the black djinn. And then we see that 3rd eye open. So remember how the 3rd eye didn't open initially because of the fact that there was no longer Eli giving them Magi. But now, in this case, the 3rd eye does open, which means that the black djinn is clearly connected to Eli, because it's more or less Eli giving her Magi to beat Sheba. So that's important in that regard as well. And I have a theory. Well, not really a theory, but based on what I've seen before, in not only the manga, but also in the anime, where when Eli is brought back into this plane of existence, and he touches down upon the planet, before that happens, you see Solomon's body actually perform some type of maneuver, some kind of spell with the Rook. So my theory is that Sheba, even though she's dead, Solomon's going to come back. Once Eli starts to like re-emerge, Solomon's going to return to his body and perform like one powerful spell that's going to wind up leading to the creation of the current world with the assistance of Ugo. That's my assumption. And we haven't seen the part yet where the representatives of each species turn into actual djinn, but that's coming obviously because they have the metal vessels already there. So those are my thoughts on the chapter. The chapter, it's a very sad chapter because Sheba, I think, just, she really wanted something else. Winds up being put in this position of power, but by herself, because Ugo wasn't really like that helpful. it was mainly by herself, and she pretty much ran. I mean, she was the queen, granted, but still, it was more or less, I'm going to bear the burden. And the burden clearly clouded her eyes in judgment when it came to her fellow magicians. And even though some of the magicians didn't follow Arba, given that small panel where only 2 of the 3 are actually exuding malice, the point here is that the majority are following Arba. And then this brings on the creation of Al Thaman with the purpose of resurrecting Eli, I suppose. So that's it, I'm done. The chapter, it's sad, but it's quintessential for the overall story, obviously. We see the death of Sheba and how Arba is in fact Ren Gyokuen, and she's still alive. She's been around for like millennia. Upon millennia, seriously. And she has to go. She just has to go, alright? It's time for night-night. So, Sinbad, where are you? Ba-da-da, say, end it. Just end it. Because now that I'm seeing Arba, it's pissing me off. I'm like, yo, I want her to die. I want her to die in the most gruesome way possible. Like on some Saw shit. Like, you know, don't even kill her. Knock her out and then bring her over to Jigsaw's room. Want to play a game? Yeah, we'll play a game. Fuck it, play a game. Alright, a real fucked up game. So that's it, I'm done. King Lightning, rate the video, comment, subscribe. Peace, have a nice day. And the chapter rating overall, let's give it a rating of good. Nah, it was really sad. You know, amazing. Yeah, let's spike it. Amazing.